It's a beautiful day today and a beautiful day to read some more concerning but also fun stuff, and I hope you guys are having a good day today and I hope you're ready for what we're going to read today. If you have a good time today, make sure you subscribe if you want to, and let's get straight into it. Enjoy, guys. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give up my vacation day so that my co-worker can go on her honeymoon? I work at a small company where vacation time is pretty limited and we have to request it months in advance. I put my request in almost a year ago to take a 2-week vacation during the holidays. My plan was to visit family who live out of the country, something that I only get to do once every few years. Recently, a co-worker of mine who's getting married came up to me and asked if I'd be willing to give up my vacation days so that she could go on her honeymoon. She apparently didn't realize how quick the days would fill up and waited too long to request her time off. Now, the only way that she can go is if somebody cancels, and since I have one of the longest vacation blocks, she came to me first. I told her I was really sorry, but I can't give up my time. This trip means a lot to me, and it's the only time I can see my family this year. She was not happy, and she told me I was being selfish for not accommodating her once-in-a-lifetime event. Now, a few other co-workers are chiming in, suggesting that I could be more flexible since I don't have special circumstances, like a wedding. I feel bad, but I also planned this trip far in advance, and it's important to me. Am I the a-hole for not giving up my vacation so that she can go on her honeymoon? No, of course you're not the a-hole. How the hell is that you being selfish? It's not. And these other co-workers who are chiming in giving their 2 cents, hey, how about you donate some of your time off? The top comment says not the a-hole. I'm assuming she planned her wedding for a while. It's not your problem that she didn't think ahead. Enjoy your vacation. Yeah, and everything you said was super polite, OP. You're not selfish, and the audacity to even call you selfish. Like, oh, I'm so sorry that I did nothing wrong. The second top comment says not the a-hole. Apparently her own honeymoon was not important enough to secure time off for it. Now a few co-workers are chiming in suggesting that I could be more flexible since I don't have special circumstances like a wedding. Let them give up their vacation then. Yeah, it's real easy for the co-workers to tell you, OP, what you should be doing. Why aren't they helping? Yeah, and also this comment too. OP does have special circumstances. Their parents live out of the country. Yeah, that's right. You're so not the a-hole, OP. Post number 2 is on the Entitled People subreddit. An entitled family delays a flight and cries about it. Recently, I was flying cross-country from Maryland to Seattle. The flight was scheduled to depart at 7. I arrived at the airport at 5 a.m. I expected to check in my bag, clear security, and get some breakfast before flying. That plan didn't work. When I arrived, the airline had a line of 15 to 20 people waiting to check their bags, but I figured that I'd still be fine. What I didn't account for was the family at the front of the line that was checking 16 bags. The airline I was flying only runs 4 flights a day from this particular airport, and therefore only had 2 people working at the check-in counter. The family with 16 bags consisted of the mother, father, a baby, and 3 children that looked to be between 4 and 9. They hadn't checked in, prepaid any of their bags, or tagged any of their bags, plus their credit card had issues and the counter person had to try to find them 5 seats together on a full flight. Overall, they spent more than an hour with one of the 2 counter agents. I spent more than 50 minutes waiting to check my bag with the other agent, and during that time, the mother of the family walked away from the counter in tears because she claimed that her children were embarrassing her. Trust me, it was not the children that everybody was mad at. By the time I checked my bag in, the line had grown to roughly 50 people behind me, and the flight had to be held to give people enough time to check their bags and clear security due to the wait. To make things even better, there weren't 5 seats together on the plane, so they seated the mother and 1 child in a row, the second child in the middle seat of the row across, the third child in the middle seat behind her, and the father in the middle seat in the row behind that. They ignored the children for most of the flight except to yell at them, and they expected the people sitting in those rows to be watching the kids. And the final kicker was they actually needed to go to Texas to get the wife's car and belongings, but it was cheaper to rent a car on the West Coast, so because the father was in the military, he was charging the flights and 16 bags to the government and held up an entire flight that he didn't need to be on, only to save a couple of $100 on a rental car. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Surely they're not going to be able to do that. This comment says he'll probably get burned for playing cowboy with his government travel card improperly and illegally. I'd hate to have to explain that to my command. Yeah, and the comment above that too. Wait a second. They needed to go to Texas to get her car, but instead of booking a flight from Maryland to Texas, they went to Seattle to get a rental car to get them to Texas. Make it make sense. Edit, the only way this works is if they needed a second vehicle to get their stuff in Texas, and renting a car in Seattle was cheaper than renting one in Texas. And even then, what they saved in rental fees, they probably spent at least half of that in gas to get them from Seattle to Texas. Yeah, that's so confusing. Okay, moving on. Am I the a-hole for refusing to sleep on the sofa in my own home? I live with my girlfriend and we have a 2-bedroom apartment, but the second bedroom is more of a box room, so it can't actually fit bit of bed, so I use it as an office as I work from home. At the weekend, my girlfriend and I had plans to go for food and then the cinema. She invited her cousin, which I was fine with. The plan was to pick her cousin up, go for food, go to the cinema, and then drop her off at home. When the movie was done, my girlfriend asked her cousin if she wanted to stay over. Her cousin is 17. Her cousin said yeah, and my girlfriend asked if I'd sleep on the sofa. I said that her cousin can have the sofa, but my girlfriend got annoyed and said that her cousin should have the bed. She said that her cousin is a guest in our home and should not have the sofa, but I just said that I live there, so I shouldn't be on the sofa. I said my girlfriend is the one who decided to ask her cousin to stay over, so I shouldn't have to give up my bed. My girlfriend said that I was being unreasonable and that it'd be wrong to give her cousin the sofa, but I refused to change my mind. Am I the a-hole for not sleeping on the sofa in my own home? No, you're not the a-hole, OP. And also, does the cousin even care? It sounds like your partner cares. I doubt the cousin even gives a crap. Yeah, the top comment, not the a-hole. The teenager is fine on the couch. If she's so worried she can sleep on the couch with the cousin on a blanket pallet on the floor, you don't kick somebody out of their own bed without properly discussing it and also changing the sheets. Yeah, I don't feel like you're being unreasonable at all, OP. It's pretty unreasonable of your partner to decide this without even asking you first and just expecting you to do it without even asking. And also, from the sound of it, your partner's making a way bigger deal about it than it needs to be. I'm sure if you went to the cousin and you were like, hey, are you okay to sleep on the couch? They'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. I bet they don't care. The next one says, am I the a-hole for refusing to help pay for my younger brother's college because my dad never saved up for him? I, 26 female, graduated from college a couple of years ago. I worked my butt off to get through school, juggling scholarships and loans and part-time jobs to pay for everything on my own. My dad, 55 male, got remarried when I was 18, and I've got a half-brother, 17 male, who's about to graduate high school. Recently, my dad asked if I could help out with my brother's college expenses because he and his wife didn't save up for it. He said that I should be able to afford it now that I've got a full-time job, and because I got lucky with scholarships, it'd only be fair if I helped my brother out, since family helps family. I love my brother, but I told my dad that I can't be responsible for his education, especially when I had to figure everything out on my own. My dad didn't give me any financial support during college, so I don't see why it's suddenly my responsibility now. He got mad and called me selfish, yeah, of course he did, and now both my stepmom and brother are giving me the cold shoulder. Oh my god, the audacity. I feel guilty because my brother has nothing to do with this, but at the same time, I just started my career and I'm trying to build a life of my own. Am I the a-hole for saying no to helping pay for my brother's education? No, of course you're not the a-hole, OP. And please don't feel guilty. You don't need to feel guilty. Like they're trying to make you feel guilty, but you don't need to, OP. Yeah, like the top comment says, not the a-hole. Good for you. It's crazy for your dad to expect you to do his job for him. You never saved up for your brother's school either, but more to the point, it was never even your responsibility to do that. Your job right now is to get your life established and maybe save up for a house or a trip or something you'd like to take. You would not be an a-hole even if you set a hard rule that $0 goes from you to them. I think you should, maybe someday, but not when your dad is 55. He's the responsible grown-up, or should be, and it's time for him and his wife to act the part. Yeah, and OP said thank you. I feel like he wants me to compensate for the mistakes that he made years ago, and that's why he's asking me to try and pay for my brother's college. Yeah, like the comment below that says, that's not your responsibility. That's on your dad and his wife. It's crazy that they're expecting you to pay for your brother. Yeah, it is, and it's also crazy that they're giving OP the cold shoulder. Like the audacity, what do you mean? How did they feel like that's okay? I'm sorry that you have to deal with them, OP. This comment says, not the a-hole. Please do talk to your brother about it though. Make it clear to him that you simply can't, but you could help give him some advice on scholarships and stuff. If he insists that you should help him out financially, point out that at least you'll have one thing in common. Dad didn't help either of you. Yeah, and how terrible. It's not your job. I hate how they're making it feel like it is your job. Yeah, like this comment says too. Family helps family, but your dad didn't help you. Yeah, your brother is gonna have to figure it out like you did. Yeah, you're so not the a-hole, OP. The next one says, am I the a-hole for disowning my parents after inheriting a large sum and refusing to help them out? My parents had a rough marriage, frequently dragging me into their arguments. They always made it seem I was the main cause of all their issues. They had terrible spending habits and they always indulged way above their needs and their limits. My grandfather, who had been my rock, became estranged from my parents due to their money asking behavior. I spent most of my weekends at his house, where I felt safe and loved, far from the chaos at home. As soon as I turned 18, I moved out of my parents' house immediately and I stayed with my grandfather. A month ago, my grandfather passed away. He did leave me a significant inheritance, money that would change my life. I only received the amount last week. He'd always told me to be responsible with money and never to let it control me. That was something that I took to heart after witnessing my parents' financial struggles and their irresponsible decisions. After his death, my parents approached me about the inheritance. They were drowning in debt, having taken out loans and credit cards to cover living expenses, and so they could buy stuff after my dad lost his job during COVID. My mum does work work part-time. Their financial issues had escalated, and they were now on the verge of foreclosure. They saw my inheritance as a way out. Yeah, well, it isn't. When they asked me for my help, I felt a surge of anger. These were the same parents who'd belittled me and often made me feel like a burden. I'd always been the one to sacrifice my own needs for their sake, and now they wanted to exploit me. After giving it not so much thought, I decided to refuse their request. When I told them, their reaction was explosive. They screamed at me, hurling insults and accusations. They claimed that I was selfish and ungrateful for all their sacrifices that they made for me. My dad's anger escalated to violence. He slammed his fist against the wall, fracturing his own wrist. Oh God. My mum joined in, yelling and threatening to cut me out of their life completely, and generally trashing my house. Oh my God, not having these people in your life would be a good thing. How dare they? And then also threatening to cut you out of their life. Don't threaten me with a good time. Like, oh no, I have to see less of you. What a shame. Not really. Sorry, that was so annoying though. So I called the police, and when they arrived, my parents were still in a rage, shouting at me and throwing stuff around and blaming me for their issues. The officers did try to calm them down, but my dad continued to berate me, insisting that I was ruining the family. They ultimately decided to take my parents aside to talk to them separately, while I stayed in another room. They came out and they asked me whether I wanted to press charges. As a last act of gratitude, I said no, and I asked if they could wait outside while I had a last talk to them. After the police went outside, my parents were quiet, but the tension in the house was palpable. I told them basically to never contact me again, and if I ever saw them near my house, I'd have them arrested. I realized then that I'd taken a stand that would forever change our relationship. I'd made the choice to prioritize my future and my well-being over their demands, even if it meant losing them entirely. They told me the money had gotten into my head and that I'll face karma and they hoped I'll suffer. Even though I don't love my parents, I'm left with guilt and uncertainty. I've got a chance to build a better life, but it comes at the cost of my conscience and my relationship with my family. Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole, OP, and I'm sorry that you feel like you even need to be asking that. Of course you're not in the wrong. Your parents are vile. Yeah, completely. The top comment. Not the a-hole. Let them rot wherever they are. They don't deserve you or the inheritance. I'm proud of you for standing up. Yeah, and the comment below that too. Exactly. OP is benefiting from the karma already. As are they. Those poisonous people are getting what they deserve. Their parting shot just goes to show that OP is a far better person than they'll ever be, and OP should be happy in their life without them. Yeah, you did such a good job here, OP, and good on you for standing up for yourself. Yeah, and the comment below that one too. OP, you feel guilt because you're a human and a good person. Your parents are not. Let them rot. Yeah, and also like this comment says, not the a-hole. And let's be honest too, they would have ran through that inheritance in no time, leaving themselves in the same stew that they're in now. It's time for them to learn. You take care of your own future. Yeah, that's such a good comment, and that's so true. Like what, they're suddenly going to make really good financial decisions? I really doubt it, but yeah, good job, OP. Okay, the next one is back on entitled people. A woman parked on my driveway and then called me pathetic. Hi all, I've been a long time lurker on this thread, but I've never had a story to tell until now. I'm on mobile, so apologies about any errors. I've posted on Reddit maybe twice, so please forgive me if I do anything wrong. Also, I live in the UK in case that matters. It's Friday 5:05 PM and I'm just back from work after a long day. Our street's a private road where we all own our own section of land, and our driveways are opposite from our houses on the other side of the road. I pull on the street and I see a car parked on my driveway and a mother-son duo heading to my next door neighbor's house. I roll down my window and I ask if it's their car. It is their car, so I ask if they can move it. She tried pulling the "so sorry, I was only going to be 2 minutes," to which I replied, "That's great, but it's my property and my actual driveway, and I'd like to park my car." I will admit I definitely had a bit of an attitude here. It's been a long week and I had stuff to do and I really just wanted to get in the house. Also, who thinks it's okay to park on a stranger's driveway? As she's pulling off my driveway, she has the audacity to call me pathetic, and her son is stood at the door telling me to park and leave it. I would, sir, but your mother is still blocking my path. I was so angry that I was shaking by this point, and I was praying that I wouldn't steal my car and look like a total lol. Anyway, that's my story. Please don't be the kind of person that thinks it's okay to park on somebody else's property, especially when there's enough room to park on the road. Yeah, that's infuriating. Like, what do you mean I'm pathetic? The top comment says, I lived in an apartment complex. We had one space per unit. I had a neighbor whose girlfriend would park wherever she wanted to, sometimes blocking me in, sometimes taking my spot if I wasn't home when she showed up. After maybe the third or fourth time, I told them that I was going to have the landlord tow her car, and I won't give you the courtesy of letting you know beforehand. She didn't believe me. It was towed a few days after and it was never a problem again. Yet the comment below that she didn't believe you? The audacity. You're nice enough for warning them. Yeah, I can't believe how entitled some people can be. It's so bad. Okay, the next one is back on Am I the Gay Hole? Am I the gay hole for not donating my kidney to my brother after he bullied me for years? I, 27 female, have an older brother. Let's call him Jake for privacy reasons. Jake's 30 male. Long story short, we never had a good relationship. Growing up, Jake was always the favorite. He was good at sports and popular and got all the attention from my parents. Meanwhile, he made my life hell. He would tease me and call me names and even hit me sometimes. My parents never took it seriously and they always said that's just how brothers are. When I moved out for college, I stopped talking to Jake as much as possible. I tried to move on and build my own life. I thought I was finally free of all that crap. It turns out now Jake is really sick. He's got a kidney problem and he essentially needs a transplant to survive. I'm sad and shocked and stressed and confused. My parents called me a few weeks ago and asked if I'd get tested to see if I'm a match to donate one of my kidneys to him. They said it's my duty as his sister to help, but after everything he did to me growing up, I'm not sure how I feel. They keep calling me selfish and saying that I'm letting my brother die only because I'm holding a grudge. Oh my god, what a terrible thing to say. Jake hasn't even apologized or reached out to me. It's like he still doesn't care. Of course, he's my brother and I love him, but my health isn't the greatest either, and I worry about the side effects this might have on me if I do go ahead with him. But also the thought of losing my brother makes my heart break. Now I'm feeling guilty. My parents are making me feel like a bad person for not helping, but I don't know if I'm in the wrong. Am I the a-hole for not really wanting to donate my kidney to the brother who bullied me? No, you're not the a-hole, OP, and it's so awful of your parents to say what they did. And also, like this comment says, if your health isn't perfect, you won't be able to donate anyway. Yeah, and this comment too, not the a-hole. If your health isn't good, then having a major surgery is not a good idea. Ask yourself what he would do if the situation was reversed. Somehow I think that he declined, and your parents would not push him as he's the golden child. The top comment says, go to get tested and tell the people doing the testing that you don't really want to donate, but your family is trying to pressure you. That should stop it completely in their tracks. They'll typically just tell your family that you're not an eligible donor. Yeah, that's such a good point. And also, you might not be an eligible donor anyway, but I can't believe what your parents said to you, OP. Like, oh, you're gonna let your brother die? Oh my god, that's so terrible. And I feel like that's enough for today. That was such a fun episode, and I hope you guys had a good time today. I've got a cute wholesome meme to show you before we go. We have to end the episode on a good note. Possibly the sweetest act of kindness I've ever seen. Family had electricians in every week for the past 6 weeks, and their little boy was so obsessed with them. He hounded them with questions and kindness and constant offers to help. The little boy just received this from them: a pay slip for measuring items and counting and adding up the number of sockets, catering in bracket yummy cookies, excellent volunteering and quality assurance, and then they gave him £15. That's so cute. And it's even more cute because they didn't need to do that, but they did anyway. That's so beautiful. Thank you for watching the episode today, guys. I hope you had a wonderful time. And if you did, make sure you subscribe if you want to. And also let me know in the comments what you thought. And the comment of the day today goes to Mage1439. I'm losing my patience with these people that think that somebody should give up everything, including a lung and an eye and 3 toes to somebody just because it's their wedding, and also family. Oh yeah, how infuriating is it? There's so much entitlement in so much stuff that we read. And yeah, that's such a good comment. We read about stuff like that all the time. Like that story where that couple were getting married and they got upset with their friend because their friend announced their engagement. And also that other one where the person was making the wedding dress into a cosplay and the other person that was getting married felt entitled to the dress. Yeah, it's so frustrating. Thank you for the comment and thank you for the support. I'll see you in the next episode, everybody. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!